the indigenous peoples of the continental United States, including Alaska natives, migrated from northern Asia by crossing the frozen waters in the region where present-day Russia and Alaska meet. They began migrating into the Americas at least 12,000 years ago, and possibly as far back as 40,000 years ago. Some indigenous societies in the pre-Columbian era developed advanced agriculture, monumental architecture, and complex chiefdom-level societies. Explorer Christopher Columbus arrived in Puerto Rico on November 19, 1493, marking one of the earliest recorded contacts between Europeans and the indigenous peoples of the Americas. In the years that followed, a large proportion of indigenous Americans died from infectious diseases that had been introduced from Europe and Asia. The Spanish established the earliest European colonies on the mainland in what is now Florida. Later, Spanish settlements in the present-day southwestern United States attracted thousands of people from across Mexico. Meanwhile, French fur traders established outposts of New France around the Great Lakes. The first successful English settlements were the colony of Virginia at Jamestown in 1607 and Plymouth Colony in 1620. The establishment of the Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1628 triggered a wave of migration. By 1634, approximately 10,000 Puritans had settled in New England. Between the late 1610s and the American Revolution, the British transported approximately 1 convicts to their American colonies. Beginning in 1614, the Dutch established settlements along the lower Hudson River, including New Amsterdam on Manhattan Island. The small colony of New Sweden was established along the Delaware River in 1638, but was conquered by the Dutch. During the French and Indian War, Great Britain seized Canada from France. However, the French-speaking population retained its political freedoms and remained largely separate from the British colonies to the south. In 1674, the English took control of the former Dutch colonies during the Anglo-Dutch Wars, and the province of New Netherland was renamed New York, with the division of the Carolinas in 1729 and the colonization of Georgia in 1732. The 13 British colonies, later the United States, were fully established. All of the colonies had colonial and local governments, with broad voting rights extended to most free men. They all legalized the African slave trade, with high birth rates, relatively low death rates, and a steady flow of new immigrants. The colony's population doubled roughly every 25 years. The Christian revival movement of the 1730s and 1740s, known as the Great Awakening, increased public interest in religion and religious freedom. By 1770, the colony's population had grown to about 3 million people, including a rising number of Anglicans, roughly half the population of Great Britain at the time. Although the colonies were taxed by Britain, they had no representation in the British Parliament.